Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. Here we are, Ed. How you doing?
I'm doing wonderful. Hey, real quick in the chat, right? We got somebody got that AI recording going on in the chat. Yeah. You see that there? They're recording us, Victor, so we could be in trouble. Don't say anything that's going to get us in trouble.
Yeah, we'll say something.
But hey, welcome to the first day of spring, right? And we're like on the cusp of our busy season. Even though commercially we don't have these big highs and lows.
That's a big word.
But it gets a little busier now,
right? Cusp.
So
well done.
Baseball players have all headed to spring training.
Yep.
Right? They're getting ready. They're working on fundamentals, the mundane stuff, over and over and over again.
That whole thing.
What are you working on to get yourself ready for spring training, for your season, for our season? You know, are you working on maybe practicing how to ask better questions in discovery?
Mm-hmm.
Are you working on handling objections that come up? You know, I already have somebody. Are you working on that kind of stuff? Put in the chat what you're working on to get yourself sharpened, to get your act sharpened.
All right, love to know what you're working on. Put it in the chat. Don't be...
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, put it in the chat. Just be brief. Just put something in the chat. What do you think you want to work on in the next, let's say, 30 days to have this going on?
Maybe it's a new service line. Maybe it's getting tuned up on fly control. Maybe it's getting tuned up on mosquito control. Any of those. You know, whatever you're going to fine-tune your game with, put it in the chat so you can share it with the others. And I want to share a story because I think this is important.
You have a story.
I always have a story.
I got a story.
So one of the most mundane things, a baseball guy my whole life, right? Pitchers and catchers, they report early, go to spring training.
Right.
And they work on the art, the simple thing that happens like maybe once, twice a season of the pitcher covering first base on a ball that's hit like between first and second base, where the first baseman has to leave the bag. Yeah. And the pitcher's supposed to run over and cover first base.
It could even be a bunt.
Yeah, it could be a bunt that gets pushed that way. Yep. So over and over again, they practice it. Over and over and over. They practice that one simple scenario, such a mundane thing. But let me tell you a story. Here's the story. So there was a pitcher that was pitching for the Philadelphia Phillies.
Okay.
They got to the ninth inning.
Ninth inning.
2 outs.
2 outs.
Perfect game.
Perfect game.
Perfect game. Cliff Lee's his name. 4-time All-Star, American League Cy Young winner for the Indians, my Indians.
Okay.
Bottom of ninth. 1 out to get.
That's it.
Perfect game. No hits, no walks, nothing.
Perfect game.
A little number gets hit. Ryan Howard, the superstar first baseman, is there for the Phillies. He goes over and he fields the ball. He automatically, because he's been trained, he throws the ball to first base. Yeah. Assuming Cliff Lee would be there. Cliff Lee's standing on the mound, and he loses a no-hitter.
Nobody was there.
Nobody was there. Ball just rolled. So it wasn't an error. It was a base hit because there was no error made, other than the mental error. Right. Because he forgot all this practice. Yeah. So just think about how that plays in your game. Yeah.
Yeah, because I think it's one of those things where you practice it, you know it, but it wasn't a habit. Yeah. And I think somewhere in there he glitched. Yeah. It wasn't a habit. It's like, you know, you always say this, I should be able to wake out of a dead sleep, and if I say, let me think about it, how would you respond? Yeah. And you shouldn't have to think about it. Yeah. And that's something that Cliff Lee has done thousands of times in practice, thousands of times during games. Yep. And at the most critical point in his career. He blew perfect game. I mean, I don't know how many there are. Maybe there's a couple hundred, and he blew it. So again, put in the chat. There, you're working hard every day. There you go. Increase my value density.
Love it.
I don't think I've ever heard that
Corey
phrase.
Horlacher.
By the way,
Corey's been paying attention to us. Cost of inaction, Victor. He's practicing that. Look at him. He's sucking up those.
He knows the Roy and the Coy. He knows the Roy and the Coy.
Corey told me, why you got to keep busting my chops? He sent me a text this morning.
Corey's. By the way, lead file density. Is that?
What was that one?
Lead file up at the top. Lead file density.
I don't know what that means.
I've never heard that file before. Bradley Travis.
Yeah, tell us what that means.
What the heck does that mean? It sounds all technical. Well, I'm working on my lead. It's a big-ass file or a big file, and it's dense, but I haven't gotten anywhere with it yet. It's just dense, Victor. Sorry, I just went off the rails on that one.
What I am finding, though, is I'm traveling around, which I'm having a blast traveling around. I think I got the greatest job in the world. We call things different. Well, everybody kind of does the same thing out there. You know, similar stuff. They have different names. Like 42 years of doing this, I never heard of lead file density.
Lead file density.
Maybe I'm going to learn.
I got a lot of leads. Dense.
But what do you? I heard you were up. I got some good feedback on you. Yeah. You were up with the termite sellers up in North Carolina.
Raleigh, North Carolina.
Talk a little bit about that.
It was a good presentation. It was. I didn't realize the drive was that long from Atlanta to Raleigh.
You'd have charged them more money.
Yeah, I would have charged them more money because it was like a 6.5-hour drive, and 7.5 on the way back. I'm like, I ain't doing that again. But I like Shane Messer. I have a soft spot for Shane Messer.
Everybody.
But anyway, it was a great presentation. We talked about why buyers have a hard time making a decision, and that the real goal of any salesperson, is really how do you increase the confidence of the actual buyer to make a buying decision? Because many times they just hold back.
Very nice.
And so we covered that. It was a good presentation, great content, and love to do it again.
Super cool.
It was cool.
Yeah, and Victor's available for you guys that are pulling meetings off with your team. I've leaned into him for 13 years. So if you're looking for a keynote speaker at one of your kickoff meetings, he's certainly one of those guys that can bring it.
Let's see who's out there. Let me see who's out there.
Who we got out there?
Got Sean Landers looked like he's busy doing nothing.
Just
waving his hands.
David Rizzi, you're going to be happy when I move to the next subject.
Mark Naylor looks bored. I don't know. Are these guys going to get some content soon?
Chris is there. Corey's like, will you quit taking shots at my sailor guys? I talked to Mark between broadcasts.
You ain't doing any work, Scott Youngmark. Don't be looking away like he's giving me the whole Alfred Hitchcock profile look. Like, yeah, Victor, keep talking
Jason's
right there.
Paying attention.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Sean Landers looks. Sean, you look a little disinterested.
By the way, Corey does have a friendly face.
He does. He's a friendly guy. I know you like Corey.
What is that name? Peter.
Where's that?
Wendelhant.
Nice.
Did I get it? Or do you say Wendelhunt?
Chris Harvey up there in the Northeast with the Waltham team.
Thomas.
Awesome. He's giving us like a side view. He's giving us a little holiday wave.
I love these guys.
Nice.
Everybody else has just got images. Caroline has just popped up on the screen. McConnell.
My friend Guillermo. Cool. Guillermo doesn't have his camera on.
What's wrong with Guillermo?
He's a guy I knew from working before. He's working for Sailor. He don't have his camera on. I don't know. Guillermo, turn your camera on and wave at us at least.
He's got some personal issues.
Maybe.
There he is.
Oh, there he is. Okay, there he is.
Oh,
he's giving us a two-handed wave. There you go.
Yeah. Happy, by the way, jazz hands. Way to go, jazz hands. Not cool, Guillermo. Not cool, Guillermo. Jazz hands.
So we'll jump into some content, but I do want to share. I had a chance to spend some time with Home Team this week. I was with where? God, I've lost track of where I'm going. I'm having so much fun traveling around these different brands and experience and cultures. It's just like
it's got to be kind of cool, right?
It is.
It's like you get to meet different people, different cultures. It's like traveling to different zoos.
I wouldn't compare these cultures to different zoos.
You know what I mean. It's like they got a different.
All right, okay, let's move on. Before we get any more travel, let's move on to some numbers and get out of here.
All right, let's go.
So first off, just sharing some numbers. Well, we ran a Super Bowl contest.
Oh, yeah.
Didn't we?
That's right.
Remember, we had it down to 4 teams, and we asked you to pick the winner of the Super Bowl game when we were at the conference finals and posted in the chat.
Yes.
And we have, this is crazy, Victor. We had like 400 entries. We had 3 people.
How many?
3 people predict the winner.
The team,
the Seahawks. But the Seahawks had a lot of votes.
Yeah.
But 3 people in the commercial group got the score. Because remember, that was the tiebreaker.
Yep.
3 people said the Seahawks and 42 points.
Nice.
And I told David Rizzi he's going to be happy.
Okay, do we have names?
Rizzi. So I was giving away $1,000, right? Yeah. But we had 3 people that all got it.
Which again, they don't understand how rare that is.
It's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money.
So I had $1,000 that I was going to give away, but it came down to 3 winners that all tied. I'm like, I can't send them Amazon gift cards for $333.33.
Yeah.
So Victor, out of my heart, I bumped it up. So the 3 winners are going to get $350. So David, there should be a big ass smile on your face because I'm going to send you an Amazon gift card for $350.
I just want to rewind the tape for these guys. You went from 333, but out of the kindness of your heart, you moved up to 350. Yeah, that's so generous, Ed.
Either that or I'm really bad at math.
Yeah.
But David's happy. So there's a couple other dudes. Paul Wetzel, he was on, I think, our earlier broadcast. Yeah. He was a winner, and and you've got to figure out how to work these broadcasts when you put stuff in the chat. So the third winner, I have no idea who it is, other than their iPhone I7HKT were the first letters. So I see a couple of you that don't know how to change your screen name.
That person doesn't even deserve the money because they can't even change their name.
If they can send me an email back and tell me who they were.
Who was the first winner?
David Rizzi. He's on the broadcast there. See, he leaned in when we.
David the Rizzi. Yeah, okay, I got Riz.
He's a heck of a picker.
The Rizzomatic. Got it.
Yeah, I mean,
good for you guys.
So
congratulations.
Really cool. We had some fun with that, and I was amazed that we had 3 people on. We had 4 people on the residential broadcast that picked the right score.
By the way, Corey called you a giver.
Corey.
So Corey. So the boy's not a giver.
So let's talk about some numbers, and we'll be real quick again. We're still struggling as a unit, as the Rollins U.S. brands, to come up with sales performance to last year and to plan. I think a lot of the brands are getting that, so hopefully we'll have that. But what we do have are some pretty exciting revenue numbers from the month of January. And we'll just start here with residential pest control sales for the Rollins U.S. brands. $69 million, up 11% year over year, which is crazy good. Commercial sales, most of these folks out there are focused on commercial. Commercial sales for the Rollins U.S. brands, $21 million, Victor.
Nice.
A 9.7%
Let's call that 10. Can we call that 10?
Let's round up and call it 10.
Yeah, that's a nice number.
And again, double digits.
Yeah.
And then the termite side of the house, $23 million with a 19% year-over-year increase. Just stellar. You roll it all up together in a big bucket. Just in the month of January, $113 million worth of new sales.
Nice.
Or new revenue.
New revenue.
For a 12% year-over-year increase, which was stellar.
That is
and
great.
I want to point out, too, because I think it's really important to understand that January was a disaster in some parts of the country, weather-wise, right?
Weather-wise.
And I know Mr. Rollins would come down here and just slap me around if he heard me talking about weather.
And it ain't about
We just
weather.
don't talk about weather and leads at Rollins, but at the end of the day, we had branches that were shut down. I mean, all over the country, you know. I mean, I think about just Nashville. You know, I talked to Corey a little bit about Nashville was shut down for many days down there. And all these markets, all the Northeast.
Nashville got big.
I was at OPC, you know, last month in January when they got shut down. I mean, the branches were closed all over. So to pull that kind of revenue increase off, 12% year over year with some of the challenges we had weather-wise, it's just exceptional. Can't really share profit numbers. You know, I can't tell you. You can't get specific there, but all I can tell you, it was a pretty good month profit-wise for the Rollins brands, and that's
pretty good number. Wink, wink.
Wait, wink, wink. I can't tell anymore. But you know, the cool thing, and again, we've got some individual scoreboards we're going to share here in a minute of the folks that performed at the top of
and
their
again, that was 113 million, 12% over last year.
Yeah,
nice.
Yeah, absolutely. No, just outstanding.
Numbers,
So hats off for that. But we should recognize, and I think we got a really cool video. Brian put this one together, not Ben, but. Really cool video to share the leaderboards for your individual branches. So we should roll the tape.
Here you go. Nice video, by the way.
Yeah, really cool. Is it with the Olympic team and all that?
Good production. Good production.
Very nice. Very nice. These guys, they kill it. Our media services kill these videos.
And good revenue production as well.
Yes. I mean, phenomenal numbers. I mean, look, you're starting at Ork in Canada.
Is that Stefan or
Stefan, I believe. I've met him a bunch of times. $170,000.
Nice.
I mean, just nuts. Steven Selski.
In Quebec.
$127,000.
What a name for a salesperson, right? My name is Steven Selski.
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 That is the closer's name.
Yeah, that's close name.
And sneaking over to Iowa, I mean, look at those numbers. I mean, just bonkers.
Sean Deo, D-Z-D-E-O, they like come at me one. Okay, anyway.
Man, keep the day job, brother. Keep the day job.
I was just trying to say, okay, great numbers there, bud.
Great numbers. IFC coming out of there. Look at Mark Wadsworth, 100,000.
Wadsworth, out of Atlanta, Georgia. All right, good for him. Also,
you know, what I notice about these numbers is these people top these charts, and it's all over. You know, little podunk cities to big cities. And you know,
as you always say, it's never the land.
Never the land. It's
over
always
the man or the woman.
Amen.
No, gotcha.
Just
great numbers.
Look at the Fox team. You know, Paul Wetzel.
Paul Wetzel.
130
Chris
grand.
Oh, I'm gonna call. I got a nickname for Mike.
Mike
I'm gonna call him Mike. I'm gonna call him Cinco.
You're gonna call him Cinco de Mayo.
De Mayo. Cinco de Mayo. You're gonna be like, all right, I don't like that name.
You're gonna
great numbers.
You're gonna get fired.
Yeah, I am.
We got Tom Kennedy leading. There's Guillermo. Look at Guillermo.
Oh, Guillermo does do real work. All right, come on, man. He's like, well, he actually does some real stuff. You know, he wears a pink shirt and he does real work. I mean,
I wasn't going to say anything about his pink shirt, but he's pretty proud of that. Look at him, man. He's popping it.
There you go, Victor, right there,
jersey, man. Look at Clark. I'm going out to Clark in a couple of weeks. I'm going to be with the IWOW team next week. Oh, yeah. And the first week of March, I get to go out to Clark and hang out with them dudes.
Yeah. Have you ever? You've never hung out with the IWOW?
Never.
People? Wow. Okay.
Never.
All right.
And
are they going to take you out to dinner? Are they going to wine and dine you? The IWOW people.
Oh, Pat Porcello, man, that dude does it big time. We're going to one of them casinos up there in Connecticut. I think Foxwoods maybe, or one of those casinos.
Nice.
Oh no, they do it. They do it
right.
And
they do it right.
Yeah, and I was at home team. They do it right.
Okay.
I mean, they get all dressed up for their awards banquet, like suit and tie.
Oh, you got the home team thing. By the way, what is that? What's the badge
home team thing? I got this week. You know, I got this. We're looking for swag, so we got some stuff from IWOW. I had a Fox shirt on last time. Yeah. So Corey, we're looking for some Sailor stuff. You know, we're looking for some other stuff.
Yeah.
We'd love to have some IFC stuff, Chris. So you can help us out there.
Got none.
But we need some swag.
Swag.
2XL and XL, right?
Yeah.
Or large. You know, to help us out. We'll pick it all up. We'll see Chris at the IWOW meeting as well. Yeah. So we're begging. Oh yeah. So there's. I'm used to challenge coins, right? And RAC has a challenge coin that if you get caught without your challenge coin, you got to buy a drink for the person that challenges you, right?
Okay.
So I said, well, you guys do this deal at home team with the safety badge, right? And they said, no, it's not about buying beers. If you don't have this on, Brady Camp, their president, throws you out of the meeting.
Brady says, you're out of here.
You got to leave the meeting.
Really?
And I didn't see him throw anybody out, but I've heard that it's happened in the past.
Okay.
So we appreciate the swag. And, I got to get all dressed up again next week with the IWOW team to go out for their banquet. Okay. And I told one of the guys that's going to be at the meeting with me, like Adam Van Est, I said, dude, I only got one suit, man.
Yeah.
So I'm going to wear the same suit next week. So
your wife's going to be shocked to see you in a suit.
Yeah, at funerals and weddings, man. That's it. But
Northwest in the back here. Yeah. Drew Perkins, 74K.
Strong.
Yep. And you hung out with the Northwest folks, right?
Yeah, I did them 2 weeks ago. So I'm on this whirlwind
tour. Is it
tour.
true that they're party animals?
Yeah, I told that story on the residential broadcast. They were staying in the same hotel when I come to Atlanta. They had their meeting there. And these cats, man, they didn't go to bed till like 3:34. And I almost got to the point where I was going to call down the front desk and say, can you send all them people back to their rooms? But no, they have a heck of a lot of fun. And from what I hear, there's quite this fabulous karaoke thing that they do at IWOW.
Really?
And they've warned me, and I've been practicing.
Okay, well, good, man.
I'm not going to tell you my song.
By the way, so where's the thing? They finally clarified. Okay, Bradley Travis has clarified.
I saw that.
The lead density file.
Now, that makes a lot of sense.
But I think he was just trying to make himself sound big. You know, lead density file. Lead in specific geographical areas to create route density for our techs.
It sounds.
Why don't you just say you just generate leads to optimize the routes?
Why are you guys?
Yeah, I'm just saying. He doesn't have to go through all this.
Going to throw you out of here. All right, let's get into some content so we can get them on their way.
Great numbers, by the way. Great numbers.
I think if you're getting my messages at night, I'm sending them pretty consistently. If you're not getting them, reach out to your RSM. I found a little couple kinks today with Sayla with their emails that they weren't getting through and work that out hopefully. But if you're not getting my emails at night, please send it to your region sales leader and have them send me just your email address. But what I want to kind of focus on, other than that, is that Sonia and I are back in the studio. I have probably 100 Ed Talks on my YouTube channel that's out there in public. If you want to subscribe, you'll get it as we redo them. But I'm redoing all of them. And Sonia and I got in the studio last week, and we did one on Audible and Libby. You know, not necessarily reading books, because a lot of people can't read books, but our people drive a lot, right? They put a lot of miles on. Right. And while they're not allowed to talk on their phones when they're driving for all the right safety reasons, they can listen. And what the video, the concept of it was that, you know, you got Audible out there to where you can listen to books. Yep. And you're a big fan of that. We're both big Audible subscribers. And there's this other one that my son told me about when I tell him about how much I use Audible. He said, Dad, why don't you just use Libby? You know, he lives.
I've never heard of that. I never heard of that.
He lives up in Boston, and you know he's cheap. You know, he's cheap and
frugal.
Frugal might be a better word.
Yeah.
But he said, Dad, I get all those books through the library, and the app is called Libby. You just have to have a library card, and he gets all for free. Now, the difference between Audible and Libby is you can't keep them. You got to return them like the library. Right. But you can have them for ever long as you want. And he said he can get 2-3 at a time. So.
But is it the card? You know, the actual book or the audio?
It's the audio. It's the audio. You can certainly get the book, but you can get the audio just like Audible. But you can always pay for.
But you can always have the audio on there, right?
Oh yeah.
Like on an app or something.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And it's free. So I haven't checked it out yet, but. Maybe I'll save the company some money and cancel my subscription. But no, so that brought me to this. Victor and I probably 2 or 3 years ago, we talked about this book and we shared it with the Orkin team. And when I'm going through that stuff, I said, man, I called you, in fact. I said, I think I want to do this. So we kicked it around a little bit. There's a book out there that I'm going to have you share on it because this guy's a dear friend of yours, right? I mean, you know him really well. And it's called The Perfect Close. So I'm going to turn it over to you a little bit to talk through The Perfect Close. And because I read it like 7 or 8 years ago when it first came out, and it was invaluable. And when we dusted it off, the reception by the Orkin team was just fabulous. I mean, guys and gals jumped all over it and bought it. But I'm going to turn it over to you.
Let me tee it up. So James Muir is a good friend of mine, and he has this book called The Perfect Close. And the first time I saw the title, I rolled my eyes. I told Ed, like, there is no perfect close. And I am telling you that this is one of the best books you'll find out there. One of the things I liked about it, Ed, I've talked about this before with you, is that the data and the research that he uses is stuff I already knew. So I was going, yep, I know that. And it validated what was in the book. I'm like, yeah, he knows his stuff. He has so much content in there. But I'm paging through like, get to the perfect close because I want to know what it is, right? So let's get to the perfect close. And again, I highly recommend the book. The perfect close is this. You're moving into close a sale. And the first part of this 2-part question of the perfect close is, here's a proposal. Does this make sense to, and then whatever the next step is, right? So for example, it could be, does it make sense to go ahead and get started? Or, if it's commercial, it could be something, just go ahead and schedule a date for the inspection. Anything you want to add on that?
Does it make sense to schedule a date for the proposal, right? I mean, all these different things that you come into that, commercially, I've always tried to convince, even residentially, tried to convince people that one of the goals going into the appointment, obviously the major goal is to get the ink, right? To get the deal done. But at the end of the day, you still have to have a bona fide next step when you leave out of there. And I think some of the research that Muir shares, and you'll get into that a little bit more, is that like 70% of sales calls end with like no next step, no scheduled next step. So talk through that a bit. And
Gardner did an interesting study. They talked about how 76% of salespeople don't ask for the next step. That was a mind blower. 76%. They get there towards the end and it gets uncomfortable. And we've talked about this before. Telling the customer after you've laid a proposal out, what do you think, is not a close. That's not a close or asking for an advancement of the sale. So what I like about James is that he's going to say, hey, does this make sense? Now, here's the second part. Let's get into the second part of the question is that, does it make sense to get started or schedule a date for the appointment? If they say yes, we're golden.
Lock and load.
If they say no, then here's why I thought this part was brilliant, actually, because it's so simple. He says, what do you suggest the next step should be? And what I love about that, Ed, is that it seems like you're handing over control, but you're basically controlling the conversation because now you put the onus on the actual potential buyer to tell us, what are we going to do next?
And I love that because, you think a lot of the teaching in sales is to control the conversation.
That's it.
I love just the nuance of, here it's yours, but when you're giving up control, you're really taking control,
That's exactly
because
it.
now you're forcing them to tell you what the next step should be or what they think.
It's almost like, all right, you tell me what do you want to do now?
What do you want to do?
Right? And now they have to come up with an answer. And I've always loved that. And so here's the full script right here so you can see it. So again, does it make sense to, again, schedule the appointment for next week so we can start with the inspection? If they say no, just simply say, so what do you suggest the next step should be? Now, when I was in Raleigh doing the presentation, one of the things I brought up is this situation where everything's going well in the presentation, and then you're going in the call to action, right? In other words, next step, advancing the sale in the commercial sales. And I said, do you recall feeling turbulence as you were going to ask for that next step? And I'm telling you, the majority just kind of said, yes, I do. And I truly believe it's because they haven't practiced that line. They don't have it, as you say, locked and loaded. What is my close? Like my favorite close is there any reason we shouldn't get started? Literally, you can wake me out of a dead sleep and ask me, what's your close, Vic? Is there any reason we shouldn't get started?
And I think that's the art of this stuff, right? And we talked in the residential broadcast about, about the Shuhari, about, you got a script. You get a script from Muir, right? And it's baked, and you get the book, and we're going to share the podcast with the guys later. That you did with him. But at the same time, you have that format. You've got that. You've got that there. You've got to then make it yours. You got to bend it. It's got to be you. It can't be James Muir. It can't be Victor. It can't be Ed. You got to make it your own.
Yours.
But I think the important thing, like you said, is it practiced. My line is always, if you wake me up, after six IPAs in me and halfway through a bender at 4 o'clock in the morning, can I spit my clothes?
Right.
And I think if you don't, then you get that uneasiness when you're coming in to stick that landing to where you're like, oh man, I'm going to ask for the money. I'm kind of worried about how it's going to go.
Yep.
But if it's practiced and you know what you're going to say,
right. And by the way, too, I want to go back to your example of the baseball analogy.
Yeah.
Because the more I think about it, what happened was he knew it.
Yes.
Okay. But what happens is when you're under pressure, that automatic part of your brain has to kick in. It's almost has to be a reflex. The reptilian brain kicks in automatically, and his didn't. Yeah. So he had practiced it, but he had not hardwired it in. So when the pressure ensued, it wasn't there. Same thing happens in a close, right? We feel that pressure to kind of, we're going to ask for it, and it's not there.
Yeah, and taking it back to Cliff Lee, right? I mean, you think about the pressure. The guy's on the cusp of being like history, right?
Yes.
A perfect game. I mean, I don't think there's 100 of them in baseball.
Yeah.
And the nerves are probably crazy, and he forgets the most fundamental task that he's practiced over and over all of his life, probably since he was in Little League.
Right.
And he forgets it. So I think that's the reminder to get this baked so that it's not automatic, but I think the term I use, and you've shared before, is this premeditated closing. You know what you're going to say when you ask for the money. Yeah. You know what you're going to say. And it's pretty much the same thing every time.
Every time. Yeah. And you're asking it. And so I don't think he had that down. So let's go back to the slide because I want you to see the... so take this, even if you don't like the way this is worded, again, we talked about something called shu-ha-ri, which is shu-ha-ri, a Japanese phrase. And the shu means learn the script as it is right there on the screen. The ha part in shu-ha-ri means you start bending it to kind of what you want. You start playing with it. The re part is when you totally make it yours, that you can spit it out. So, for example, when I read this, I go, I don't know, I'm not feeling that, right? So I decided to victorize it, right?
There you go.
And I was like, how would I change it? And I think I would use this one. I said, well, the next step would be to schedule the inspection, right? And then I would add this line, would you agree?
Yeah.
Do you agree?
Yeah.
Or you can kind of soften it by saying, how does that sound?
And you know, that's how we've talked about this before. I kind of lean towards how does that sound? You say,
yeah, do you agree? And again, it's not right or wrong.
Concept, yeah.
It's whatever you feel is comfortable with. And so take it your way. So we should have them vote. I want them to vote on something.
Okay.
So by the way, here's how I would use it before I go to the next step. Well, the next step would be to schedule a date for us to get started. Again, how does that sound? Again, very soft, very simple. So let me ask you guys a question. I want you to put this in the chat. A or B? A is the way James Muir stated to do it. Does it make sense to schedule the appointment? And again, if they say yes, great. If they say no, what do you suggest the next step should be? That's A. B is what I would do, how I would do. Well, the next step would be to schedule the appointment. And then how does that sound? What do you guys, I need you to vote A or B.
A or B in the chat.
A or B.
And it's funny, you and I have had this conversation just that, you know, I've been accused of being way too over-analytic with sales, every situation. But just changing that word from would to could, right?
Yes.
I mean, could be. If you don't, next step would be, almost kind of demand an action.
Yes.
Next step could be, right?
Could be.
Depending on who you are, right?
Yeah, totally.
How you're wired, right?
Absolutely.
So it becomes authentic and it's you, right? So throw it in there.
So we got some different votes here. A's and B's all over. B's more direct, I would agree. And again, there's nothing wrong with A also. Again, both work. Let me see. Somebody wrote something up here. I just want to go this one. Sorola Palmer says, my favorite close is, what card do you want to put on this?
Nice, nice.
She's like just going for the jugular. Like, yeah, I love that.
I think that's pretty good. So get after that and practice that. If you're in a room, or just practice that yourself. But the other thing I would suggest that as you go into these appointments, if you're walking across a business threshold and you're walking into that, obviously the end in mind is you're going to get the contract. But you got to come out of there. If you can't get the contract, you have to come out there what I call a calendarized appointment. You got to be working to get a calendarized appointment. Right. Okay, the next step would be, could be, should be, you know, that we schedule an inspection. Well,
right.
When do you want to do that? Okay, let's do that next Tuesday. You need to get it calendarized. Okay, I'm going to put it on my calendar, you put it on your calendar, and you lock and load it. You can't walk out of there without a calendarized follow-up, the next step. So if you don't get the deal, you should walk out of that appointment with a calendarized, scheduled next step, even if it's when to call them back, right?
Yep, absolutely.
Get it locked and loaded so you're not of that 70% that have nowhere to go.
Yeah,
right.
And again, we practice the presentation, the demo, right? The walkthrough, the inspection, or even just doing the presentation. But few of us practice that at the end, that close. Philip Hogham says, the next step is to schedule the inspection. Are you prepared for me to do that now?
Yeah, you can do it right now.
Again, man, there's no right or wrong. It's whatever you feel is good.
Amen. Let me just throw a couple of points on the book, right? So first thing, the coolest thing I think about these books that could come out is that James Muir he's the voice of this book. And I prefer books that the author is the voice on Audible. So I've listened to it on Audible. It's pretty cool. And sometimes they add a little extra stuff into the Audible piece, right?
Yeah.
And then the other thing is, when you go back and you look at this, the reviews, folks, are off the flipping charts.
It's a great book.
It's all 5 stars.
Yeah.
Right? And it's on your golden shelf. Right?
I envy him because, like I said, when I read a book, I'm usually like, yeah. But when I was reading it, I go, yep, that's right. And I guess the ultimate testament for a book for me is that I go, I wish I would have written that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And that was one of those books I said, I wish I would have written that.
So a couple things are going to happen. In tonight's email, I'm going to share a short, I think it's like a 9-minute podcast that he does talking about the book. I'm going to share the full-length podcast that he did with James, face-to-face. I think that's like 45 minutes. I'll share all those for the additional content. And then when you start to follow James, he sends a pretty periodic, every couple of weeks, it's pinging my inbox that I'm getting an email from him, and they're always great reads.
Yeah.
I mean, I've never met the guy. I look forward to meeting him.
Super nice guy.
But man, he gets it going on. But just again, as we move forward, you're going to find out. You get a little feel for me. Is that I'm huge into content and huge into providing tools for you. Take them or leave them. Some of you won't look at the book. Many of you will look at the book. Yeah. But these are the things that we're trying to do moving forward to just make us all better, I think.
Absolutely. A little bit here and there. I just want to mention that James is one of the nicest people you'll ever meet. He is one of the softest closers you'll ever meet. You know how sometimes we think, you got to be loud and not him. He's just smooth, soft and smooth all the way through. Yeah, check out, now obviously the Victor podcast, but when he goes one-on-one with James in that little lengthier, you can just tell that very controlled voice. No, he doesn't do the crazy stuff I do. And so, by the way, so they'll know. So my podcast is called the Sales Influence Podcast.
Yeah. Subscribe to it.
Subscribe to it, and then just type in James Muir, The Perfect Close.
Yeah, and if you subscribe to Victor's YouTube channel, you subscribe to his podcast. If you want, you can subscribe to my YouTube channel. As I post all these new Ed Talks, if you've subscribed, they'll all pop automatically as a notice. I subscribe to probably 30 or 40 dudes that
I know you won't do this. I'll do this for you. I said, so how many years of experience? 42 years.
42
in this business. Yes. So I'm just saying, if they're not subscribed to your channel, I think they're missing, because you have so many. Your stuff is nuanced. You know what I mean by that? It's so subtle that's the real, I guess, training. Yeah. That's street smarts training. So I hope they'll listen to your podcast and watch your videos.
And I think the thing that don't blow your horn a little bit too. The thing that attracts me to Victor and why he's been working with the folks that I've been associated with for 13 years is he has all the science and all the data and all the research, right? Just like that's why he likes James Muir. I give you the gut, I give you the heart, I give you the 42 years. He backs everything up. Like Victor will say something, oh, that's why I do that. And I have no idea. Oh, that's why I've been doing that. Or no, that's why that didn't work, right?
It's like when you understand the why something works, you're more likely to repeat it.
Yeah.
And so when I talk to a lot of sales trainers and I try to get to them, why do people need to do that? They go, well, it's just, it works.
That doesn't sell.
Horrible, right? It's like I've talked to some sales managers. I just teach them how to do this. And when they ask you, why does that work? What do you say? It just does. Yeah. That's not training. People want to know why. When you know the why, you go, okay, I'll do it that way because of this. And I think that's why the data and the studies are important.
Yeah, tune into that stuff that I'm going to send tonight. I'll link it up in the message.
Cool.
I think we covered everything.
We did.
Everything. Just some housekeeping stuff. Throw that slide up. So as I've been traveling around, the first broadcast we did with y'all, we shared the Northwest core values. I'm finding that all these brands, Victor, have these baked core values of how they operate, right? A little bit different than the Rollins company I was working for. So this one happens to be Home Teams, and I was with them this past week, as I said, and these are their core values, man. They live them. You when you get inside these groups, you can feel them. They're real. They exist, and it's like, holy smokes. Pick your favorite.
Yeah. Continuous improvement would be me. That's just me.
That does not surprise me with your engineering background. You're going to be tweaking that. You sound like Mr. Rollins.
Yeah.
Mine, quite simply, is beer drinking guy from the south side of Youngstown. Fun. And they have fun.
And what kind of example are you setting right now?
I am who I am, so we'll leave it at that. Yep. Let's get out of here. To hang in, don't leave yet. What we're going to share with you now, we're going to scroll the President's Club winners, the sales related as best as I could gather, sales winners, sales manager winners from the Rollins brands that'll be in Arizona next month celebrating their success. So, nice. So hang in there. Appreciate the heck out of everything you're doing. Appreciate the attention. Go kill it. Appreciate you. Thank you.
Great numbers.